What's up, everyone? Welcome into the All 22 NFL Show, the official channel of the All 22 Fantasy Football platform. It's the only fantasy football game with full 53-man rosters, including offensive linemen, where you get to choose personnel packages and have access to PFF grading and advanced stats to make decisions each week. To learn more and sign up, go to all-22.com. And Ray, I am pumped for today because we've had three pretty successful years in a row of tight end classes, right? There was the year with the tight end Dalton Kincaid. Is that his name? Am I totally messing this up? That went to Buffalo. Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, Michael Mayer. Really good class that year. Following year, right, was the Brock Bowers year. And then last year, Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren. Just really good influx of tight ends. And I think everybody is excited about this class as well. So I'm excited to kind of explore it with you and see what we think. So everybody, just a quick reminder. So when we do film reviews, Ray and I are not doing a highlight tape. We are going through 5 to 10 plays. It's supposed to be 5. We'll see about that. 5 plays to show you trends that we see when we watch this player so that we can tell an accurate story of who we expect them to be at the next level. Ray, anything to add before we jump in?
I don't think I didn't notice you trying to sneak Michael Mayer in there, like as a positive. But
you mean sure. Like the stud that he's going to be?
Yeah.
Listen, just tight for the people out there that don't know my theory on tight ends. It's the age 26 season. That's the breakout age. Go look throughout the history of the tight ends that really break out. They're all 26 years old. That's when they hit their stride. I think Travis Kelce even was 26 years old when he had his first big year. And if you look at the young guys that break out, right? Laporta, Bowers, I could keep going. It's usually year 2 that there's a bit of a dip, right? And then it comes back around at that age 26 season. Anyway, that's just my theory.
All right.
Anything else to add besides critiquing Michael Mayer?
I'm fighting with my headphones because they're not mine, and I don't have the energy to fight with you about this. So, yeah, I think it's a great theory, Chris. It's a great theory. Let's go ahead.
All right, so we're going to start things off with Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. He's 21 years old. He's a junior, 6'3", 245 pounds, played 747 offensive snaps with a 70.4 PFF grade. This past year, he had 51 receptions for 560 yards and 8 touchdowns. I don't have the combine numbers in front of me, but I think it's been well noted how incredibly well he did at the combine. Maybe we'll get some of that information later for the second part of this podcast. But just really quick before we jump in, I think Kenyon Sadiq is a very intriguing prospect at tight end. I think we all need to pump the brakes just a little bit, and we're going to show you why. So go ahead. This first play here, you can't see him at the start, right? The goalpost, the person behind the goalpost in green pants, that is Kenyon Sadiq. So go ahead and hit play, Ray. Wanted to start it off with a running play here. This is against Indiana, right? This is the game that is monumental for the season. Just a good effort there on a linebacker, right? He steps up to 46, who is a good player in his own right, puts really good block on. He's driving his legs. He's getting wide. He doesn't stop moving. It's a good block on a linebacker, right? Like that's the effort you want to see. That's going to give NFL coaches a lot of positive thoughts about this guy. And it has me excited as well, kind of jumping into this again against Indiana, which is, the team that won the national championship. So here he is again, on the left side of your screen. He's in the 3-point stance this time. Wanted to show something a little bit different here. Go ahead and hit play. There's an edge to his outside, and that's who he steps out to make the block. And just in an instant, the edge has him basically thrown to his wayside, and he's stepping up to disrupt this play. Got to do better than that for sure. So what have we seen already in the 2 plays, right? Against a linebacker, we're going to see more of an equal matchup and good effort, right? But then we go up against an edge, and not that the effort's not there. The effort's definitely there, but it's a very, very different outcome, right? The great athlete that he is, the strength that he has, all the explosive numbers that we see at the combine, it doesn't make that big of a difference when you're only 245 pounds going against an edge that might have 20 pounds on you, right? Those things tend to matter a little bit less. So again, what I wanted to show you is that Sadiq is an effective blocker when he has a matchup that is more equal or favorable to him, but he's not going to be a guy that can just go and block defensive ends and defensive tackles. He is going to have a bit of a hard time right now in his current state. Again, he's just 21 years old. Maybe there's a little weight that he can put on in that frame. Okay, here we have him split to the right on the outside, on the right side of your screen. So go ahead and hit play, Ray. Again, you have 46 on the outside linebacker set up as an edge, and it's a quick out. It's a designed kind of, Dante Moore went out and just kind of got the ball to him quickly. Little pitch and catch, easy, nothing crazy, right? We're not seeing amazing route running. And actually the reason I wanted to show this play is the effort here, right? Number one, believe that's a corner or safety, right? Pretty small guy. I would have liked to see Sadiq not try to try to be a better athlete than this person. I would like to see him put in, a stiff arm and put him into the ground, right? Or put his shoulder down and just bury this dude, right? To me, if you're 245-pound tight end and a corner or a small safety is coming down on you like this, I want to see you bury them. This is what concerns me, I think, most about his game, is that while he is this freak athlete, I don't always want you to just rely on your athleticism. Rely on your size. You're a tight end, right? Use your body and use your size and strength to create mismatches against the defense so that you can get more of that yak. But here, he probably leaves 5 to 10 yards on the table by not just driving this dude into the ground. So that's my take on this one. Okay, here he's down on the right side again. 3-point stance, you could hit play. Another blocking play, and hey, different outcome. I think the guy got a little tangled up, but that was what I was saying before. Like, it's never for a lack of effort with Sadiq. Like, the effort is always going to be there, and he's going to do whatever he can. So again, they get tangled up. So it's not like this is like a legit pancake block, but it's a really good block, right? And he gets the angle right here. It all started there, Ray. If you can just pause it after, like, right there. Yep. So he already has angled him to the inside, the defender who's taking that inside route, and he's doing a really nice job creating that outside edge for his running back and the fullback coming to block. Like, that's the effort. Anything that happens after that, kind of nonsense, right? He gets tangled. It looks like a pancake, fine. But it's the effort to create that angle for your running back and the fullback that could have created a big play if 46 was an absolute animal on this, which he is pretty thoroughly throughout this game. Okay, next play, we have him lined out in the slot here. So again, now we're a stand-up, and we're going to get skinny. I love this play for Sadiq. Love this play. I only have it for one angle because he doesn't even get the ball. But what a great route, right? Just sizing up the safety, breaking him to the outside, making him think he's going outside, right? And then funneling in. To me, that's NFL open for sure. And I think a lot of quarterbacks hit this for an easy touchdown. Moore, I believe, was getting pressured on this play and had to roll to the right so he doesn't end up throwing this. But to me, this is like, if you could hit this quick, that's when you would hit it. And I will have some notes on this after. So I think this may be the last play. We'll see. But here he is aligned again in the slot. He's got a linebacker on him. And I just didn't love the route. So while he was able to break down on the last one and make the safety miss, here I think he looks a little bit high when he's trying to break down. His upper body isn't leaning forward. He's kind of straight up, and he doesn't really get any separation in doing that. He kind of makes it too easy for the DB, linebacker, whoever it is, to stay with him on this. I do think there's polish that's needed in his route running for him to be a true separator. Again, a lot of these tight ends, when they go to the combine and they show you this insane straight line speed, doesn't necessarily mean they have the best lateral movement. And honestly, a lot of times it means they don't, right? You can be stiff and run a really fast 40, but it's really that 3-cone drill, which tells us if you have the speed that's necessary to be like an elite route runner. And here it's showing that maybe that's something that still is missing from his game. Okay, here he is in the slot. I guess I had another play. Maybe I have two more. We'll see. And it's just a quick pitch and catch. He breaks one arm tackle. But again, like, the second guy is small, right? Like, you have enough space and effort to drive through him. And it's like, when we talk about the guys at the NFL, the tight ends, like the Gronks and the Travis Kelce's and those bigger body tight ends that really make a living after the catch by being just home wreckers, you need to have a little bit more than this to break that and get to the next level, because the DB stops him enough where he kind of gets another yard. But again, like, this is where Travis Kelce, even like a Jake Ferguson on the Cowboys, they get 5 extra yards on this because that first guy's really not slowing them down. That's what I would have liked to see from Sadiq. on all plays like this. So that was the last play. So now I'm just going to give like my very quick summary. I think Sadiq is a very intriguing prospect at tight end. He definitely still needs to develop as a route runner, but I think his effort as a blocker will allow him to be on the field for, 3 downs. He is a true 3-down player. One thing that concerned me that doesn't necessarily get shown in this, but there's a lot of plays where Sadiq looked maybe like he was open, where Moore is choosing not to go to him. And it gave me a little bit of hesitation, because if this really is like your number one weapon and a guy that people are talking about as like a top 10 pick in the draft, you'd think that a college quarterback is going to rely on this guy like very, very heavily. And I didn't really see that in the biggest game of the season for this team. And besides that, again, like I think there is lateral movement that still is needing to be developed for Sadiq. But at just 21 years old, like this is a very exciting prospect. I just think it's more close to the Dalton Kincaids than it is the Brock Bowers in terms of like being a true route running tight end. And I would have him under both Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland of last year's draft. I'd have him closer to the dude. I probably would have had Michael Mayer and Sam Laporta.
Oh my gosh.
And those guys above him too. I had Dalton Kincaid behind those guys in that draft when I did my rankings. I'd have him close to a Dalton Kincaid. We'll talk about that more later. You don't have to give your opinion right now, Ray. Save it. And who are you going to be talking about?
Headphones. All right. So next up, Eli Stowers, the tight end out of Vanderbilt, the second sort of super athletic, explosive tight end that everybody is talking about. So if you don't have the overview, Chris, I'll just jump right into the tape.
I do for Stowers. So Stowers is 22 years old. He actually was in grad school this past year, which is pretty cool. So 6'4", 235 pounds, 462 snaps on offense with an 81.6 PFF grade, 62 receptions, 769 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now to you.
Yeah, so Eli Stowers here, tight end out of Vanderbilt. So we're just going to jump right into it. Number 2 receiver slot at the top of your screen here, and we're going to let it run. I got 2 plays back to back because, again, we identify patterns here, and sometimes you don't believe us that it's a pattern when we show you a play on tape. So I cheated a little bit, threw an extra one in there just to really drive the point home. So, again, we're going to worry about blocking in space here in the slot and just kind of miss like, okay, what was that? What was that? But here we go again. Just, again, second play in this little package here. Top of the trio here. Number 2 receiver, again, in the slot on the line of scrimmage. Same exact type of block. And for the second time, it almost looked like he didn't know exactly what his assignment was. Like he kind of hesitates here. Am I going to the outside and blocking it up? Nope. And I'm just going to go neither. So coaches say all the time, make a mistake, make it 100 miles an hour. Hit somebody at this point here. You're blocking in space as a tight end here. Either go ahead and knock 24 on his back and work to 3, or just go to 3, but don't do neither. Don't go to 3 and then try to double back. It just looks like you don't know what your assignment is. And Vanderbilt's a very good school with a lot of smart people there. I would think he would know his assignment. So again, you see it here again. Maybe he's trying to compensate for the wide receiver here. I don't know. But again, do your job. Okay, let the ball carrier take care of anybody who gets through, but do your job, as coaches will say. So, again, bit of a trend here. We noticed blocking in space was not necessarily just pretty for Eli Stowers here. So we saw 2 plays of him in the slot, and now we're going to go ahead, and he's lined up off line at tight end. And, boy, he doesn't get the ball here, but it just feels uncomfortable trying to block to cover him. So, again, he's just release off the line here, and you're going to watch number 3. He's got outside leverage. So number 3 here is protecting outside leverage on this route. So you would think he's not going to get beat on an out route, and you just see that Stowers gets him to just turn upfield. He threatens vertical, gets those hips turned, and then look at that sharp, just sort of rounding cut there, and he's open here. I mean, the ball, Pavia goes elsewhere, but he beats the outside leverage of the defender on an out route as a tight end against a much smaller defender. That's incredibly impressive stuff here to do that against defensive backs as a tight end. it just seems like if you're in coverage against Eli Stowers, it's just not comfortable. You're just always feeling threatened by that verticality that he brings to his game because of that athleticism. So again, it doesn't look fun. It doesn't look fun covering him. We're going to see him here again, lined up out wide, motions inside, and we're going to see another sharp outside cut, but with a little bit more to it this time around. So again, he motions from the outside into the slot here, and the defense is going to play a little banjo here. Your favorite, Chris. The outside defender here is going to pick him up on his vertical release. You notice he has a bit of a shoulder dip here against the initial defender in the slot here to avoid getting hands on him to slow down his route. So he does a really good job of not giving a lot of surface area in the event of press coverage. And even so, then he just kind of smoothly slips upfield. And again, they're just really selling vertical hard. You got the safety out here to the inside, but the defender again just kind of feels that threatening verticality from Stowers here, and he just slips right under. So again, the ball doesn't go to him, but yet again, he made himself available. Where if this is the NFL and it's a timing route, that's a first down. I mean, that's a first down right there. And again, he's beating defenders' leverage here. It's not as if the design of the play got him open and in an advantageous position. No, he created his own space on this play and did a really great job of it, even though the ball went elsewhere. So now we're going to see him in line again as a tight end. And this time we're going to just, have a little bit of a blocking game, and look at that. Yep. Oh, he's still going. Oh, okay. So we're just going to, after the whistle, continue driving and, make sure the ref is paying attention. So I really like that here. So maybe as an inline blocker, here comes another package of 2 plays here. There's some more to Stowers' game here. If he could really fire off the line, you see him just kind of take 17 where he's going and drive those feet and create a little traffic jam at the end of the play. And then here again, we're just going to go ahead and get into a fight with the defensive back and send a message here. I don't care if now the defensive back wants to throw you on the ground after the fact. I blocked you 2 seconds after the play. I'm sending a message. I'm a tight end here. You're not just going to get a free play just because it's a quarterback run and you're the corner here. So, yeah, we're going to tussle. And, you want to throw me to the ground late? Maybe it didn't happen here, but maybe I'll get a personal foul flag and get a free first down out of this. He doesn't mind getting into fights. I see physicality in the box. I'm wondering where it is in space for Eli Stowers here. But again, so just kind of the duality of Stowers in the run game. And then one last play here. This is the quote unquote 5th play. He's lined up in the slot. And this is just kind of everything coming together in the passing game for Eli Stowers here. So again, lined up in the slot, and this is just filthy. So we're going to break it down after you see it from the other angle because it's beautiful. But makes himself incredibly available. It was a throw from Pavi. I'll give him that. But again, you see the catch radius to go ahead and grab that ball. So again, he's going to hard stem just enough. Watch the hips just kind of show outside, flash outside, get that DB, again, just sort of strafing to the outside and then being athletic enough to cut inside of him and just kind of leave him in the dust at this point. And then he has to come back for a ball thrown a bit high and behind, but goes ahead and uses that catch radius to go up and make a catch for a first down. This is everything you want to see out of a tight end in the passing game. Up the seam, big target, athletic, making the play, helping your quarterback out here. That's Eli Stowers in a nutshell. So again, to kind of just summarize here, I really like this player. I think coaches are going to really like this player, but there's some edges to his game that have to be rounded out, particularly in space when it comes to being physical as opposed to just sort of in the box. But athletically, it's not just the explosiveness or the sharp cuts that he provides for you, but he knows how to get open. He knows how to make defenders feel threatened vertically and then work off of that in the intermediate game. He does a great job of that. This is not just an athlete playing tight end. This is someone who knows how to run routes, knows how to get open, is going to be very friendly to quarterbacks. We'll see exactly where I have him compared to some other tight ends maybe in years past, but I'm a big fan of Eli Stowers and his game.
Love it, Ray. Love it. I'm excited to talk about this guy. A little later, I have some thoughts, comments, questions for you that I think will be exciting conversation. Next up, I believe we have Max Klare out of Ohio State. So junior Max Klare, 6'5", 243 pounds, played 488 snaps on offense with a 69.3 PFF grade, 43 receptions for 448 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ray, let's just jump into it. So here we have him at the top of your screen, lined up as kind of like the wide out here, right? We have a corner looking at, playing like a cover 3, cover 4 zone, safety over top, and then an edge rusher to the inside. Go ahead and hit play. Just see what happens here. So bursting out of the box, right? And a nice little drag route across your screen, and great throw, great placement, drops the ball. So everything on this play looked good, but the effort looked weird on that, right? It looked uncomfortable. And you have to remember, tight ends have to do a lot, right? You have to be able to block. You have to be able to be a receiver, have to do all those things, move in motion, everything, right? You do everything. One of those things is as a receiver, right? When you're in drills at practice is you do, dragging your feet, catching the ball at the sideline. Here, it looks like he hasn't had enough reps at that, right? Like you need another hour on the jugs machine, another hour doing your little toe drag exercise. He just looked uncomfortable. And to me, it showed that like, while there are some receiving prowess to his game, there is still a decent amount that's missing for him to be like a true receiving tight end kind of weapon. Let's go ahead and go to the next play. So here we have him out wide again. So a trend here, right? We're seeing him line up basically all over the field, kind of a little sneaky route here. And I like it a lot. So the cornerback kind of drops. He kind of has to try to get around it. And he just is super patient and sneaky. And it's a really good throw to get that window. And we're moving the chains, right? And that's the kind of tight end I see Max Klare being, is just that really good, let's move the chains, let's keep things going. I'm going to give you 5 yards here and there. I'm just going to turn around, you dump the ball to me, and I'm going to keep the chains moving for you. So I like that for Klare and what he brings to the table. Play 3 here. He's moving to the inside. He's running across the field. And the reason I showed this play is just I thought he did a really good job settling into the zone, because that's a thing that a lot of guys are uncomfortable with. But here he sees that there's somebody to his outside and there's going to be no throw to him if he continues that route. So he has the wherewithal to stop, right? And like, that's what I want to see. I think that's great. That's just kind of great awareness as a receiver. So he doesn't get the ball here, but again, just a trend that I wanted to show. We could go to the next play here. He is kind of on the split back. He's motioning out wide. And now let's see if he could block in space. And, I'll tell you what, like, that's as good of an effort as you can have. I think the guy catching the ball here, the runner, doesn't really do him a great service because Zero's really coming in hot and dragging him outside. But if he had kind of run, I think that was Jeremiah Smith, if he had run off of Claire's butt there, right, and gone inside, I think he gets a little bit more. And that's really, again, like, Klare does everything that he was supposed to do on this play. At that point, it's kind of out of his control if the receiver tries to go outside of him.
I think that's your last play, Chris.
All right, that's it, man. See, I was super efficient there. So I'll talk really quick about Max Klare.
Yeah.
I'll talk really quick about Max Klare. So again, I think we see Ohio State tight ends come out like every single year or every other year. And to be honest, they look the same every single time. There are these, they're not massive. They're slightly undersized to be like a true blocking tight end, but they do everything well, right? Like, they're well-rounded. They block, they can run routes. But at the same time, while they can do everything, they're not really great at anything. Like, they don't really have a calling card that says, this is why I should be, a true featured tight end at the NFL level. And to me, I think Max Klare is just another one of those tight ends. But saying that, like, there's a ton of value in having a player like that on your team. I think every NFL team would want a Max Klare on their team. So yeah, and again, I think the thing that I like most about him is just his ability to find space and sit in it. He showed me that over and over again. So I think there's going to be value there for him as a receiver at the next level.
All right. I can't wait to talk about it. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead. Last one of the day, tight end Michael Trigg out of Baylor. And we don't have a summary for this one, right, Chris?
I do not. It's all you, buddy.
All right. You're going to have to stick around. Oh, me. I'm sitting here looking at the projected screen here. I can't see nothing. We'll have it for you in the audio segment here. But Michael Trigg, senior tight end out of Baylor. I believe he's 6'4", 240-ish. We'll see. I'll cut that if I'm wrong, or if not, I'll just leave it in, as awkward as that sounds here. So Chris, before I hit play, one of the worst things about playing pickup is when big guys play small. I feel like we could all agree on that, right? When they want to be, you want to be the point guard, but you're the biggest guy on the court right now, and you're not the fastest guy on the court or the quickest.
More opium.
But you want to, you want to be, you want to be the point guard. You want to be the ball handler, and that's just not your game. Sometimes tight ends do the same thing. They want to be, they play small. They don't play as big as they are. Michael Trigg here, first play, we're going to see it here. Kind of that same deal, just that same just disease. So right here in the slot, in the red zone, that's not playing big at all against the defensive back. And I'm just, what's the plan here? You're bigger and stronger here, and you're at the goal line. Are you going to muscle him? Why are we upright? Why are our hands at the point of contact just kind of down as if we're running on air here? And like, what's the plan of attack here? How are we muscling this defender? How are we creating separation for ourselves? You let the defender get chest to chest. You just kind of passively sit there and wait for the ball and just let it get into your body for a deflection. If I need a lot better effort than that at the goal line as a tight end. I mean, if you're a tight end, you want to score touchdowns. I need better effort than this in the end zone. Don't throw your head back and in despair. Like that's all you, buddy. Here, next play. So we'll see it from the other angle. But basically, he gets motioned in from the slot to try to pinch this defensive end here to the inside and allow for the rollout from the quarterback. Does not happen here again. Yet again, not really playing up to his size. So you're going to see the edge rusher here at the right side of your screen here. He was just motioned in, and then as we roll out right here, just kind of gets, he doesn't engage. He doesn't initiate the action. Defender goes to his outside and then just right past him towards the quarterback. So now there's nowhere for the quarterback to roll out, and it results in a rushed incompletion. Play up to your size. Crack the defender inside and give your quarterback a window to the outside. So here we go again, lined up now, just off the line of scrimmage, but lined up tight. And as soon as the offensive tackle disengages, we lose contact with the defender here and give up the tackle. So I don't really know what this is. I mean, your hand should not be on 74. It should be on the defender here. You should be working to drive. And so now you lost positioning, and he's just going to duck right up under you and just take you for a ride to the tackle. So this early on in the game, just not playing up to his size here. And again, at tight end, I don't want to see that. But we're going to take and for some of you who remember this game, this was a wacky game, Baylor versus Auburn. You had ref drama, a lot of back and forth. All that to say is that I think at halftime, Michael Trigg and Baylor just took like Mike's secret stuff. Okay, for those of you, if you know, you know. I think that's what happened here. So now he's going to be lined up out wide. And, okay, we're going to make ourselves available, open field. Okay, I'm going to bounce off a tackler, run to the sideline here, just kind of shake off the defender here and get extra yards after the catch. This is what I want my tight end to do. Make yourself open over the middle of the field, break that first tackle, and get some yards after the catch. Make life easy for me. This is what makes coaches and everybody intrigued by Michael Trigg. So here you go again, lined up in the slot. I'm going to shake you at the top of my route. Again, get open over the middle of the field and pick up, 20 yards on this play? And so, again, Chris, I follow the rules here. You did not, because you put like 10 plays for one of these other tight ends here. But number 6 here, who's lined up over him in the slot, absolutely depleted Michael Trigg earlier on in this game on a running play. I mean, like flat out, like he absolutely got it in film the next day. But now Trigg is going to go ahead and get his revenge here. Again, nice little shimmy to the outside, cut upfield over the middle, get yards after the catch after making yourself available over the middle of the field to your quarterback. This is what I want my tight end to do. Just do this consistently and we'll be good. So you see it in him. He has the athletic traits to go ahead, break tackles after the catch in the open field. Maybe he needs work in the run game as a blocker. Okay, not every tight end is that archetype that's fully complete. That's fine. We're probably talking about a late or maybe an early day 3 prospect, late day 2 at best if someone falls in love. But here we go, Chris. It's 4th and goal from the 9-yard line, minute and a half left in the game. You have all 3 timeouts. You score here, you give yourself the opportunity to get the ball back. and possibly tie the game. So yet again, we're in the red zone yet again. And go ahead, you're a senior. That can't happen. That can't happen. We saw it with Max Klare a little bit earlier here, but that has to be a catch. That has to be a touchdown catch. You should be kicking an extra point and then trying to use 3 timeouts to get the ball back with a minute left in the game to try to tie the game. Instead, that's it. That's ball game. Ball falls out of his hands. We have a drop. Inconsistency is the word with Michael Trigg. You watch Michael Trigg and you see some of the things that will just make scouts just so intrigued and want to draft this player as early as, the early 3rd round, late 2nd round, because he can do things after the catch. He makes some phenomenal catches, but then just everything else, if you're talking about a receiving tight end, you can't have the dropsies. If you're not going to be physical as a run blocker, I need you to be physical with your routes at the very least. I need you to be physical at the goal line in making yourself available as a sort of power forward and going up and getting the ball here. And that just doesn't happen with Michael Trigg. So he's got the traits, he's got the flashes to make scouts fall in love with his game. But everything else, the inconsistencies are going to drive coaches mad. We talk a lot about coaches falling in love with players and drafting them earlier than they should. This is kind of the inverse there, in that scouts might really like what he can bring to the table, but he's going to make coaches lose hair or grow gray hair, whichever, if they don't go balding, because there's so much inconsistency to his game that is just so frustrating, as you want him to just kind of put it all together, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, so I did just look it up. So he's actually going to be playing his rookie season at 24 years old. So when you talk about a player not having figured it out yet, at 24 years old, that's a bit concerning. And he's 6'4", 240 pounds. And just to give some numbers, right? So he played in 11 games this year with a 72.4 overall PFF grade, played 382 passing snaps, and then 104 inline snaps and 265 in the slot. So this is a player that played a lot this past year with kind of some middling results. Real quick, I just want to remind people to like and subscribe. If you liked what we did today, you liking and subscribing to this channel is going to help us do this more. There's 2 prospects in particular, Sam Roush from Stanford and Jack Endries from Texas, that we didn't get to do today, right? You liking and subscribing to this channel will allow us to do more of this and help us, get more visibility so that we can do more of this. Those are 2 prospects that I'm very intrigued in. Maybe we'll talk about them when we do our kind of overall rankings later on. All right, so just want to welcome in audio-only listeners. If you aren't watching on YouTube, I highly suggest you go to YouTube. We just did a cut-up of the tight end position. We did 5 plays in 5 minutes for each of the top tight end prospects. Maybe a couple more plays here and there for certain prospects. We'll see. But a really fun conversation there on YouTube. So I highly suggest you go and check that out. And also like and subscribe, right? That helps us continue to grow this channel. We really appreciate all the people that have already done that. But now we're going to have a conversation about each prospect and do our rankings. And Ray, I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to just kind of take an easy one here and just say that Michael Trigg is definitely, of the 4 that we reviewed today, he is number 4 for me. So again, this is a 24-year-old rookie prospect next year who doesn't seem to have it all figured out, right? And you did the film review, so I'll let you do a summary of it. But at 240 pounds, he looks a lot more like a receiver on film than he does a tight end, right? And when I compare him in my mind to other tight ends that have come out and done similar things as he is, right, like an Isaiah Likely, right, like that high-end receiving weapon tight end, he just doesn't really measure up to those guys. Not saying he doesn't have a spot on an NFL field, because he definitely does. But I would struggle taking this guy in the 3rd round, right? Like, to me, he's more of that 4th, 5th, 6th round type prospect. And it really has to be to the right team. But tell us about him and tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, Michael Trigg is an athletic player, and he puts some really good flashes on tape. He can go ahead and make a spectacular catch over the middle, break a tackle, get yards after the catch. If you put together a highlight tape of Michael Trigg in the passing game, he will check every box. But again, there's 10% highlights, there's 10% lowlights, and then there's the 80% in the middle. And that 80% in the middle is filled with inconsistencies here. With Michael Trigg, it's more like 33, 33, 33. I mean, he's just as inconsistent as he is good, and he's just as poor as he is good and inconsistent. And that's going to drive coaches mad when you just don't know what you're going to get out of a player. Not even just week to week, but series to series, it feels like with Michael Trigg. He's not a strong blocker in the box by any stretch. He's 6'4", 240. Those are the measurements of an athletic receiving type of archetype tight end, and that's fine, but be consistent at that. And I think that's where the issue with Michael Trigg comes in, is that he's not always that consistently reliable receiving athletic tight end. He has cases of the dropsies. He can get beat up on routes, especially in press. He doesn't always make himself available. And at tight end, you want that. At the very least, you want your tight end to be dependable. You have receivers for the explosiveness and the highs, the high flying plays and things of that nature. You want your tight end to be sort of like a security blanket. And that is not how you would describe Michael Trigg in the passing game. So if you don't offer much as a blocker on the ground game, you have to really bring it as a receiver. And he just doesn't do that consistently enough. And as a soon to be 24-year-old prospect entering the league, it's going to bump you down a bit because you had plenty of time to figure this out already. If he had the same type of tape, but he was 21 years old heading into next month's draft, I might be intrigued. I might say, okay, yeah, maybe this is a late third round player. Let's take a flyer on him. There's some more work to be done here. There's some more blood on this stone. But at 24, I need to see more than that, especially if you're going up against the Big 12 defenses in college, by the way. I'm going to throw that out there too. So yeah, there's high highs, there's very low lows, and a lot of inconsistent in between with Michael Trigg. He's gonna make you jump out of your seat, but just as often he's gonna make you pull your hair out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great summary. And like really, when I'm watching the film, I just see a receiver. Like he looks like a receiver, he moves more like a receiver. I don't know if I would even categorize him as like a tight end at the next level. He might just be like a big receiver. Did you also have him at 4 of the guys we were reviewing?
4. He's 4.
Who's your 3?
I think we have the same 3. It's Max Klare.
Yeah, it's going to be Max Klare.
Tell me
talk about him. Okay, I will.
Not really.
So I did the film review on Max Klare, and what I said I stand by, right, is that this is like the typical every single year Ohio State kind of turns out the same tight end. And it's a guy that is very good at having a well-rounded game, can do all the bits that a tight end is meant to do, slightly undersized, right? 243 pounds. Again, like that's kind of a trend with Ohio State tight ends, but doesn't really have a calling card. Doesn't have one thing that makes him stand out and say, this is a guy that's going to be a difference maker at the next level, right? He can block. He definitely puts in effort in blocking plays. He can run routes. He can catch the ball, but he doesn't really do any of it exceptionally well, right? The one thing that I said that I did really like about him is just his ability as a route runner to find space and sit in it, right? Which is what a tight end needs to be when you are kind of that last resort weapon. So I do like Max Klare. I think he definitely has a role. I had mentioned it, right? I think every NFL team would want a Max Klare on their team. And I'm one of them, right? If I'm a GM of a team, I'm taking Max Klare maybe in the 4th round, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. He is a exciting player because I think that there is still some things that can be unlocked if he puts the work in and he really starts to develop a little bit more. So I like him. I just don't know if there's ever greatness that we're going to see out of him, or if it's just going to be kind of that same old Ohio State tight end.
Yeah, I thought his 2024 season at Purdue was better than his 2025 year at Ohio State. I'm sure he transferred to Ohio State to get on a bigger stage and kind of improve his draft stock and all that. I don't think that was mission accomplished. I think he was better in 2024, to be honest. When you watch him in 2024, there's a few more things, mostly in the passing game. I just feel like he was more exciting of a prospect then than he showed on tape in 2025, where I think everything was fine. Like you said, it's a lot of just sort of a 6 out of 10 at everything, which is okay. That's fine. Where do you take that player at tight end if you don't have a difference-making trait to really hang your hat on? That's the question that these organizations are going to have to ask themselves. But yeah, he's a tight end. He's a solid tight end that just doesn't really wow or excite you. And yeah, it's just kind of boring. And that's fine. I mean, not everything has to be exciting. I just talked about how, maybe some less excitement from Michael Trigg could have been a good thing. So he's kind of like the yin and yang between our fourth and third tight ends here. So yeah, I guess an early day 3 grade on Max Klare for me. But again, I wouldn't be shocked if there's maybe a little bit more in the receiving game than we expect once he's in the NFL, because I think he showed it in Purdue in 2024 in particular. I think he showed some more flash there as a receiver. So it's possible he can kind of overshoot some of the expectations based on his Ohio State tape once he gets into the league. It wouldn't shock me. So yeah, I think there might be some more blood on that stone there, but I don't see an explosive sort of jump off the page receiver or tight end regardless. So yeah, maybe early 4th, I'd say late 3, maybe. It's right around in that range.
Cade Stover, drafted in the 4th round in 2024. Jeremy Ruckert, drafted in the 3rd round in 2022. Luke Farrell, 5th round, 2021. It's just like, if you showed me Cade Stover film and Jeremy Ruckert film with Max Klare, I don't know if I would always be able to tell who is who. Like, it's very similar players. Like, it's just a lot of the same. And again, those guys were thought high enough to be drafted in the 3rd and 4th round. They're effective players. I think Cade Stover had a pretty good year this past year. Like, it's valuable, but again, like, you kind of know what you're getting. But
when you have those, you have like those random thoughts like that just kind of stick in your brain, and then like 5 years later, like something comes up and it reminds you of that thought. Like, and it could be every 5 years over the course of like 30 years, right? It's just like, oh yeah, one of my like things in my brain is that Jeremy Ruckert should not have gone to Ohio State. Jeremy Ruckert could have had a much better career if he had gone somewhere that actually threw the ball to tight ends at that time. Just going to throw that out there. Sound bitter, but no, I mean, I think Jeremy Ruckert could have had a really big time career, at least in college, and it never materialized. And I just don't think he went to the right fit. Just one of those random things. It's in your brain. Yeah, someone brings up Jeremy Ruckert and you go, oh yeah, he shouldn't have gone there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Ray. That was
super Long Island.
Strong Island. All right. I do think there's an interesting conversation with the top 2. Again, we're just talking about the guys we reviewed film of. There may be a guy, right? Like I said, Sam Roush out of Stanford, Jack Endries out of Texas. Like, those guys may be higher up on this list after we get a chance to review them. But right now, the final 2 that we have is Eli Stowers and Kenyon Sadiq. And Ray, I want to pose a question to you because I'm having some feelings, right? I'm having some feelings about Kenyon Sadiq. Kenyon Sadiq is making me think about all of the tight ends that I've drafted in past years that just never really became anything. Noah Fant, OJ Howard, like that type of like, this guy's a freak athlete. He's got an amazing build. Looks like he can do it all. Just not seeing it at the next level. Whereas in Eli Stowers, we kind of know this guy can't block. We know that he's not going to be a real tight end at the next level, but we know that he's at least going to be a difference maker from a receiving standpoint. So does that make him more valuable, right? Like I'm struggling kind of separating who I think is actually number 1. I think a lot of people are at home going, Kenyon Sadiq looks like an amazing athlete, an amazing prospect. How is he not your number 1? Just kind of fool me once, fool me twice, right? Kind of thing. I don't want to be fooled a third time because then I make a fool of myself, right? Are you having those same thoughts?
I'm having similar thoughts, but I will stick up for the majority here, and say, in going into this, because I kind of had an idea about Sadiq's lack of production compared to the aura, aura. Is that what they're saying these days? I don't know, whatever. The mystique. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Way to help me out. The mystique of his athleticism, and he's such a freak, explosive athlete who's just going to streak down the field to get behind everybody. And, oh man, he's fantastic. He's going to, play above the rim and all this other stuff. And knowing that he was not nearly as productive as the hype was, I went into this expecting to see a lot of the things that I would typically see of those guys when they don't meet that expectation. And there was some of that. And you pointed it out in the review there, but there was also a lot of, damn, Dante, throw him the ball here. Like he is. Like he did his job. He was there. I don't know what to do with that because now I'm scared. Like if it was all one or all the other, I could say, all right, no, it's all Dante Moore, or no, it's all Sadiq. Stowers is good. I'm happy to let someone else draft Kenyon Sadiq. Now I don't know because it was elements of both. So what do I do with that? I don't know. I don't know.
It's such an easy cop out to say right now. It's like, oh, if he goes to the Rams, right? Like if he goes to the Rams, he's easily tight end one. To the Rams. But it's like, we don't know where he's going, right? And if we say that these guys we're the GM and we're the ones making the decision, I just don't know if I want Sadiq over Stowers, knowing that there was something to Sadiq's game that just didn't seem fully locked in or clicking, where Stowers, there was elements of his game that you knew exactly what it was and it was awesome. And then there's also that element that's like, just don't let him block, right? Like, just don't even ask him.
You know who he is. Sadiq is like, I think I know who you are. I think.
And there's just been so many NFL GMs that think they're smarter than everybody else and go for guys like this, and they just make a fool of it, right? And that's what really concerns me.
Well, I don't know. Here's what I think. I mean, it probably depends. You have to know your personnel, and we'll first I'll give my all 22 take, and then I'll give my NFL personnel take. I think if you're an all 22 and you need a tight end, let someone else draft Sadiq first. He might be tight end one and prove to be tight end one in all 22. But if I could get Eli Stowers around later, I'm going to do that. I'll draft someone else, and then I'll take Stowers around later than Sadiq and fill my tight end need that way in a rookie draft in all 22. Let someone else take that risk, because I think Stowers has a very good amount of upside there, but maybe a little bit less. You kind of know what you're getting there. So you kind of protect yourself a little bit. In the NFL, I think you just have to know who your personnel are. If you have chain moving, reliable guys at wide receiver already, then maybe you can go ahead and take a Sadiq and take maybe a bit inconsistent at times, but once or twice a game, he can just break it open from the tight end position. If you hit him in stride or something, right? That's fine. If you have a young quarterback and you need a more reliable target who you can throw the ball to 9, 10, 11 times a game and just kind of move the chains and just kind of, make life easy for your quarterback, then I don't think Sadiq is your guy. So it's going to depend on fit there. Because even if all of the sort of athletic traits come together and he lives up to that billing, he's not nuanced guy. He's not He's not Jason Witten on third down. And no, most people aren't. But
honestly, that's what I want.
Player. Yeah,
that's what I want.
He's not your guy. So take Eli.
Let me ask you a question. Like, what is the best case scenario for Kenyon Sadiq, and what's the worst case?
I mean, the worst case is
like which teams they go to.
Oh man, I hate doing that. I don't know. I got to think about that. I'm in draft.
So think about it. While you think about that, I want you to. I'm going to come back to
the Rams. The best case is the Rams. It's always
okay. All right. What's the worst case then?
I don't know. Probably the Raiders, but I'll think of it. I'll think of a better true scenario there.
Because when I think about Eli Stowers now, right, and I think about what I saw, this great receiver with awesome hands, but a guy that just doesn't really block. I think about a guy like Kevin Stefanski, who's now with the Falcons, and Kyle Pitts is a free agent next year. And it's like, okay, if they're really not planning on bringing back Kyle Pitts, Eli Stowers in that offense with Stefanski, can he look a lot like Harold Fannin did last year, right? When I think about something like that, that excites me. Like that's a landing spot that makes sense to me. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just see the possibility of what Eli Stowers can be so much clearer. And again, he's 235 pounds. So, like, I'm going to ask you another question once you kind of figure out the previous one I asked you. And the other question is, if Eli Stowers was just a receiver, where would he rank in terms of the guys that we reviewed, on this podcast? Is he in that group, right? Like, would he be a top receiving option?
No. Let's chill out a little bit.
Okay.
No. But I like the receivers probably more than – I think it's a deep receiver class. Panthers, I think, might be good for Sadiq. They got Tet there as kind of the size guy, so maybe he can kind of, Bryce Young can kind of buy some time, and Bryce Young's not the type to sit right there in the middle of the pocket and kind of hit you 8 yards over the middle anyway because of the size, and he kind of has to find throwing windows and things of that nature. So kind of a little bit, you play a little bit of an out-of-the-box type of game there. That could probably benefit him, I think, pretty well. So, yeah, Sadiq to Carolina. Just lock it in now. You heard it here first. So I forget what the hell your other question was, but yeah, I think Eli Stowers is very good. Is that what you were asking me?
I was asking, so like, in my personal opinion, right, when we reviewed the wide receiver position, I agree with you. It was pretty deep. I had a kind of a top 4 guys, right? I think we both did. We both liked the Indiana receivers, I think, more than we liked Stowers as a receiver. But then there was guys like the Jeremy Bernard, the Chris Bell, those type receivers that I start to say to myself, maybe I'd rather have Eli Stowers than those guys.
Yeah, because you don't like Bell. Bell would have been a first-round pick if he had stayed healthy, and you just can't see it.
Concepcion, do we have him? Would you have him over Concepcion? I would.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
But there's probably some other guys I probably have above Concepcion, maybe a Skylar Bell. Ted Hurst, who we didn't review, who I wanted to transfer to Penn State last year and did not, because he would have done wonders for that team, honestly. Ted Hurst is another one maybe we'll get into, but I would have Ted Hurst above him for sure. I love Ted Hurst's game. So I just over under 38.5 for picking the NFL draft. Stowers go earlier or later than that? I think that's where I'd have him. I think I have him top 40 range. I like him a lot. I think he's a steal for anybody who drafts him after pick 40, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I could totally see like a bunch of teams being like, I just don't want a guy that can't block. Where did Isaiah Likely go? Wasn't he like a 4th round pick? Like, I just don't think teams value that.
Than Isaiah Likely. Don't. Now he's better than Isaiah Likely.
I don't know about all that. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is like, NFL teams don't necessarily want these guys early. So Likely was a 4th round pick. I think Stowers goes after pick 40. So
yeah, I think once you get into the 40s, it's a good value for Stowers here. I would have had him above a Likely. But again, you have to know what you're getting with him, which is, hey, you're getting a receiver here and a damn good one. Just have no delusions about him in the run game and you'll be fine. So yeah, 40s for me. I think, sometimes you see him mocked mid-second, late second, maybe early third. To me, once you get to the 40s, I think you're getting good value.
So I agree with you personally, right? Like I would probably take him in that range also, but just based on I think Likely is a similar prospect and maybe even a better one than Stowers is. And he went in the 4th round. So I would not be surprised if Stowers does not go in the 2nd round and ends up in the 3rd or 4th round. So that wouldn't be shocking to me. And at the same time, I think he might be better than Sadiq, right? So like, I don't really know what to make of this tight end group. You had mentioned earlier about like who's better in PFF. That's why I was like, hey, I'm really interested in watching Sam Roush because this guy is a 260-pound tight end that might be the best blocker of the group, right? And in all 22, if your guy plays 20 snaps and he's able to block, he can be as effective as somebody like a Stowers or a Sadiq, if not maybe more, right? So sometimes you have to be a little bit more strategic in all 22 to say to yourself, Max Klare might be the best all-around tight end, can do everything well, but he doesn't do anything great. So are you going to get 60 grades every time? Is that better than drafting Kenyon Sadiq in the 1st round and then he ends up being not the person you thought he was going to be? Tight end's hard, man. And a lot of times, like I admit, I've gotten it wrong a million times before, but I think I'm starting to figure it out, especially in all 22, which is if they can't block, you better hope the team that they get drafted to doesn't ask them to, right? And that's what I worry about with Stowers. That's why in all 22, he's looking more like a 6th round pick to me in all 22 than a 2nd or 3rd round pick, right? Where if I could get a Sam Roush, a Max Klare in the 7th round or as an undrafted free agent, I might honestly value that much more. So it's kind of my take. I don't know where you're ending up on this.
I think you're just scared to say it that like Sadiq is your tight end too. You're scared.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to say it. Kenyon Sadiq right now is my tight end 2, and Eli Stowers is my tight end 1, and I'll take all the smoke.
Wow. I think coaches will like Stowers more. he knows how to get open by not just running by you. It's I think you dropped this name in the wide receiver episode. It's almost Ladd McConkey in a tight end's body at times. How he's able to just so easily just break to the outside and get separation as a tight end against corner. Not by muscling them out, like by literally making them turn their hips and go upfield and then just cutting underneath them to get open. Whew.
Dude, Dante Moore not trusting Kenyon Sadiq has given me the coldest of cold feet I've ever had on a tight end. Yeah, and it's not that I don't like him.
Yeah, I wish he got 4 more targets a game so I could see what would happen and really get that full picture. And what does that say about Dante Moore? Who knows? I think I still have Sadiq number 1, but like I said, I let someone else draft him. I'm a ceiling guy. You know,
you're a coward.
Like, give me the high flying. I had OJ Howard and I had OJ Howard shares. I had a whole bunch of all these tight ends that flamed out. Evan Ingram. I had all the shares of all the athletic tight ends. Like,
which is crazy because Ingram, like in terms of bust, like I mean, he's like been in the NFL for what 10 years. Like he's a starting tight end 10 years into the NFL. Like that's what's hard about tight end, man. It's hard.
Yeah. I think I still have Sadiq 1, but if I wake up on the wrong side of the bed and I don't want to have to worry about a bust factor, I'm just waiting and taking Stowers.
All right. You heard it here first, people. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Please give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X at all22_PFF, and give us a review wherever you watch or listen to your podcast, and have a great rest of your day.